Oh, the cry of my heart is more of you. He'll never leave you, no. All his promises are true. In the midst of all the tears, in the midst of it all the hurt and the fears, he will be right there.
Yes, it like this we can say, for it reaches to the highest mountain.
All right. What's going on, Facebook family? All right, let's come on in. Let's hit those share buttons and begin to invite. As you all remember or know, Hope McCants does have her EP out entitled Heart's Cry. And so if you don't have it by now, shame on you. No, no, download it today and check out songs of hope and inspiration and even personal devotion unto the Lord. And so we're excited about having you guys here with us once again for our third episode of Marriage Works. So let me see who I got going on here. Who's talking to me? All right. So hopefully you guys have been enjoying the series, the web series of testaments of love and admiration and dedication to the covenant of marriage and to each other. Marriage Works. You thought about our love and it caused you to dance. You know, our commitment to this webinar this month is very simple. We just want to talk about how love is here and it's here to stay. And it's a simple conversation with millennials on love, marriage, and God. And it came about because we know a lot of friends and family members in our age brackets that were madly in love with each other and got married and didn't really work out. And so I knew what I had been going through in my marriage or what I had gone through. And we stuck it out, right?
Yeah.
And so.
And I'm still alive.
I survived your cooking. So what you did? No, okay. So we're still here to tell the story of God's grace and mercy. And I thought that with all the marriage seminar stuff that goes on in the world, all these videos and movies and all that jazz, what have you, that we needed to hear some sound wisdom and encouragement and some testimonials from people that were in the same age bracket as you and I, 20s and 30s, right? I'm being in my 20s, and Pastor Hope, of course, is in her 30s. Praise God for his faithfulness.
20s in so many years.
And
it's been so many years.
so we got married young, and so God's been good to us. We've been married 11 years now, going on 12. If the Lord lets her live and sees fit to not deliver me out of this, she will be here for 12 years. And so we have a couple with us today that are our friends. It's my brother and my sister, and they have a great marriage and great testimonies about the power of love and commitment and being young. And so I'm excited about it. Let's welcome to the forefront Jacobi and Sade Campbell.
Hello.
How are we, family?
Well,
doing all right. I just wanted to see if the shirt was going to be unbuttoned or buttoned by the time we got on the screen.
he's so shady.
Unbutton that thing 2 or 3 times.
Trying to decide if I'm comfortable or not. So that's so Jacobi and Sade, tell us real quick. Let's see. Some things I want to know. Tell us how long you guys have been married.
11 years.
Okay, 11 years. Yeah, yeah. So 2009, you guys got married?
September 19th, 2009.
Come on now.
See that?
Oh,
See that?
geez.
I can change the time if you want to.
So,
What time we get married? Good
what
job.
time? Yeah, I'm curious to know this. Yeah, what time was it?
PM.
It's 5 o'clock.
5 p.m. I think I remember. Let's see.
Oh boy.
Yeah, So it was December 23rd, 2009. It was at 7 o'clock p.m. The wedding started an hour late. No fault of our own. No. So technically it started at 8 o'clock. And the wedding lasted about an hour and a half. I don't know how we did that. It was a long wedding.
Wow.
Hour and a half.
Yeah, it was a long wedding. I don't know how we did that. I think it was the live band piece, and we sung hundreds of. I don't know. I don't know how we did that, but I know. Pastor Hope created her own vows, and the vows took 45 minutes themselves.
Why are you lying?
And the vows had a whole lot of commitment for me to make to her,
Absolutely.
and there was zero
That's not
commitment to her to me.
I like it. Hope.
True.
And you will love me. And you will cook for me. And you will provide with me. And you will rub
Right.
I like it.
Take on my bills and all. Yeah, it was just a list. I felt like I said, Lord, is the judge sentencing me? What's going on here? So it was a Wednesday night. It was because Bishop canceled Bible study for us.
It was.
Isn't that something? All right. So you guys been married for 11 years. And tell us your love story. How did you guys meet? Who pursued who? And this gonna be good, Hope.
I can't wait.
I'm going to answer this because I have the real story.
Okay. All right.
With the truth. He's going to give you a story, and I'm going to follow up.
Here's
with
what's
the
real. I am from a small county in Kentucky, and I moved to the city, which is Lexington. I mean, that's funny how that's a city. It was city to me. Okay. All right. If you don't ride a horse to school, it's city. All right. So it's city to me. So I got there my sophomore year. My sophomore year, I met Sade during CATS test, which is a statewide testing. And it's the first time I met her. And one of the guys in the CATS testing was throwing airplanes, and one hit Sade. And I didn't do it because I didn't throw airplanes, and I can't do origami to save my life. And it hit Sade. She turned around and gave me the business. You hear me? There was so many explicitives in that conversation, and I was just like, it wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
You know, it didn't matter.
It wasn't me.
Hey, right? So
didn't work for Shaggy. I don't think it's gonna work for him. He
So-
tried.
It wasn't me.
So CAT testing finished up, and I was not used to being talked to that way. You know what I'm saying? And couldn't forget about it. Like, this girl really thought she could talk to me that way, right?
Right. Jacobi Campbell.
Facts. What she didn't know was that's wifey right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's a woman who sees, you know what I mean, like me as like an equal, and not like, oh, this guy's so much a prize to be won. It was like, I'm my own person. You know what I'm saying? I don't need you. What up? Okay. And I love that because no one talked to me that way. And during the summer, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I thought it was the weirdest thing in the world. And so every time I think about it, man, every day I think about it. It's weird because I only met her once. And so I said, God, if it's your will that, this person's to be my wife, I guess, you know what I mean? Because there's no way I keep thinking about this person and it's not something serious. They let her have the first class of junior year with me. Now, mind you, I was in advanced class. So it was advanced arts and humanities. So I don't know her academic scholarship, right? So I had no idea if she'd be there or not. But that's a fleece I put for the Lord. She was late to school, but when right before school, the class ended, she shows up to my first class, the first day of junior year. And I fumbled the ball because she sat on the other side. You gonna sit over there with the white folk? Because the black people were sitting on the other side. That's not what you say that someone's gonna be your future wife.
Right, right.
So after that moment, I was in pursuit mode. And so she needed a CD made. And remember LimeWire?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember LimeWire.
Yeah, I remember the rest.
Those were the days right there. You dated.
But we were doing a project in class, and she needed a CD made. And I may or may not, because of legal reasons, have made a CD for her. And, maybe. And I said this: if I get this CD to you, for you, you have to do something I want to do. It won't be immoral. It won't be against your religious code. It won't be anything outlandish. Just when I call you and say, let's do it, you're down.
Wait. You told her not immoral, not what now?
Not against your faith, your religion.
Faith, religion. Outlandish. He was smart, wasn't he?
But when I call you, you got to do it. Okay?
Oh, okay.
And she agreed.
Whoever holds up, whoever thought that somebody gonna call you, I was just like, oh, sure.
I'm a man of my word. The Bible says, "Let your yay be your yay, let your nay be your yay." And so I kept it in my back pocket for a while. And there was a time when I was supposed to date this other girl to this, supposed to take this girl to his wedding reception, and I was his first boyfriend, and it was working out just fine. But then I went to the church for the wedding rehearsals, my friend's aunt's wedding. And it was right up the street from Sade's house. See, that was God telling me, you better not do nothing with that girl because your wife lives right down the street.
Down the street.
So it was the day of the wedding. And this girl done hyped me up to her family. We supposed to dance at the reception. But I go, Sade, remember that deal we made? Yeah. I need you to be ready. We're going to a wedding reception. Gonna be old school. We have been talking on the phone since then, and she thought I was her best friend, but I was scheming the whole time.
Right.
Thank you. And so she showed up and was mugged the whole time because I was supposed to. No one else knew that I was going to bring somebody. I was supposed to be Sade didn't even know why the hate was going that way. Why they was mugging her. But hey, when God says do it, you gotta do it. So
when God says do it, you gotta come on.
So then there was a time where I wanted to go on a date with Sade. She was newly single, and I wanted to go on a date with her. And she told me it wasn't a date. Brother, I had to get on the Webster dictionary.
We were hanging out.
And I had to look up.
I love it.
You know what the word date is in Webster? The word date means.
What does the word mean?
When one or more people meet in a place for a common interest. When I read her definition, this is a date. And she said, we're hanging out. It's the hangout date.
It's a hangout date.
It's a date.
Don't get it.
Right. Don't expect nothing out of this. Just know.
We're hanging out.
The car I was supposed to. So it was set. I had to go to the clinic to do a test for money. Okay. We had like students, medical students. They would like get high school students to do some sort of thing and they pay $25 for it. I had to be strapped to a chair and breathe in a tube for 2 hours for $25. Can you imagine being strapped to a bed doing this? Trying to blow into a tube
for $25.
For $25, but that's how big it was to go on this date. Because my mom and daddy, I said, do not pay for this. I'm gonna do this. It's my future wife.
Come on now.
And that's about $25 to pay for a date.
Where you at?
So what happened? My dad did not come back with the car for hours. How late was I?
You were 3 hours late.
3 hours late.
What?
Because time is a construct.
Right. Well, it was because my dad took the car. I didn't have a vehicle.
Oh, okay.
And so the car I was in broke down. And then like my sister was like, I said, please call Sade's house until I'm on the way. I didn't have a cell phone. He had a cell phone, but I didn't have any minutes at the moment. I had to get some minutes. I add it later.
Come on now.
Good times. Yeah.
So my sister called my future wife, Sade, not my girlfriend at the time, and says, hey, he's on the way. When I get there, Sade's a red, comfortable capri pants.
I was doing hair, and then I was going to the grocery store because See,
He was over it.
Yeah.
Right. His
Her-
big time was over with. 3 hours. That was the
Yeah,
big.
That's one for the Father, one for the Son, one for the Holy Spirit. See, God was at work.
I think that was
Okay.
a movie and
So
some dinner.
her sister said, go ahead and go on a date.
They've
Okay.
been in cahoots ever since.
So we went to the arcade. We went to the arcade and had a good time. Now that was like $10 gone. I'm down to $15.
That is right. We operating on $25. Okay.
Yeah. I'm hungry. And I said, oh Lord.
You didn't plan for that, did you?
So she wanted to go Subway. Then she said, I ain't gonna eat unless you eat. So we both had Subway.
Oh, because you was gonna play it cool and just let her get hers.
Facts.
I understand. I feel that, brother. I feel that. I understand.
So
Yeah,
I'm in the food court eating. Her brother works in the food court and is mean mugging me from the Taco Bell from across the way.
Working like some potatoes.
Looking at me. Well, so now I'm down to like $7.25. And we supposed to go to a movie. Mind you, my car is unreliable. Okay. So I drop her off in the front because it rained. God gave us rain. So I had the excuse to drop her off in the front. I'm praying her way because as I begin to go to park the car wouldn't shift into gear. And it started jacking up, but she was nowhere to be found. So it's cool. So I rolled it into a parking spot, coasted it. Got out there with $7.25. Know I got to buy 2 tickets to a movie. That was $5.25 a ticket. God moved her friend, not close friend, who was at the ticket booth.
Got to let y'all. Hallelujah. Lord, that's right. Yes. Yes. See, you gotta know how to praise him. Yes, that's good. Yeah.
Then when we got inside, Sade wanted popcorn, but I got $7.25.
Yeah.
My boo got her popcorn.
Yeah.
So I dropped her off by 11:59. The car didn't jack up until I dropped her off. Got off on the exit, and the car stopped me in the middle of the road. You should have seen my praise dance because I got a Tuesday, went through the whole day, and she know my car. I was shouting. The car was. He said, "What are you shouting for? The date is over." This is how you know God was.
He was in it. He was working.
Yes,
So wait a minute.
From the beginning. Yes. So
wait a minute. So let's point out some key principles because it seems like every story has the same timeline. There's an acquaintance. You're strangers. You meet. Then you become acquainted. Right. It takes time to get to know each other to build that trust or what have you. And then the friendship begins, and then you move, out of court, inner court, hold, right? And so now, what I want to point out today is that oftentimes somebody in the relationship already knows where they want the relationship to go, right? So he was clear, this is boo, we gonna date, and she was like, nah, we just hanging out, right? Right. Yeah. But he's clear about where he wants a relationship to go and what, right? So now, Sade, from your perspective, what's going on in your mind? You got this kid here asking you not to make a commitment to something that's not gonna, destroy your morals, interrupt your religious factors, all this jazz. And I mean, what's going on with you at this time? Where are you?
He was pretty rude to me when we first met, so I just was like,
right.
Whatever.
I can believe that.
Tell the story. I'm gonna tell you the truth. When I first met Jacobi, we were actually sophomores in high school, and I had a class with his brother, and he and his brother looked a lot alike then. And I didn't know they were new in town. I didn't know who they were, and I clearly got on these Coke bottles right here. So I walk up to Jacobi, I'm talking, and he was just kind of looking at me like. And I said, "Oh, you are not James." He said, No, I was like, well, hey, my name is Sade. Nice to get to know you. Da, 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 da. He was like, hi. And he walked around me. And so,
I don't know.
Oh,
me,
the hand of the Lord. And
probably when he got all these explicatives when we was in class.
right,
He was the
right,
rude
right.
guy. See, that's what
Right.
you don't understand. If that came from the paper balls, no. You're the rude guy. All right.
Right.
We had class together. There was this girl he was very flirty with. If he was pursuing a wife, I did not know because I thought that he and the girl was dating. I don't know. So we just hung out all year. I just thought we was friends. We just talked about everything, poetry and hanging out and da 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 da. And he would slide little hints, and I'm like, Psh, I ain't getting married for 20 years. You know, you're gonna cross that off the list. I had goals to accomplish. And so he just I thought he was a friend. We hung out like friends, but then he was like, oh, you know, this is how I feel. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I told him, though, if you had told me early on that you knew I was your wife at the beginning, I would have been gone. I'd been on the first thing, smoke. I'd have been gone. I'd been running. Because who knows? That's
Right.
16.
Right.
I was about 2 years in before I knew this was my. No, I just.
Dang. I try to explain to her that I had a Mount Transfiguration moment. You see, a Mount Transfiguration.
Right.
Yeah, Pastor.
God said, Jesus said to them, speak nothing of this
Everything's a sermon.
until the Son of Man is risen from the dead. So God said, this is your wife, but speak nothing of this until you two are together.
Right. I understand. Well, you know, Hope knew when she was 13. And she told me, and I was like, girl, we are friends.
I told him. I was
She didn't have biblical wisdom. She didn't know. So you know, it took me a while, Shorty, to come around as well. However,
Well,
I guess when they
go ahead. The best growth I think it's hard to know that person is who they are to you, because one thing about that's never discussed, and I don't discuss it much, but I'll tell you, maybe Hope had a similar experience, is that you have to see other people with your spouse, right? Like I had to see my wife date other people.
I was just hanging out with him.
And that was the hardest thing to do, because I knew that they would never care, love, or be intentional like I would. And you have to kind of trust God in a way that is like, I love you explicitly, and I love you enough to let God work this thing out. And it was the hardest lesson. So that when we got together, finally, it was like, I know I'm going to treat you like the treasure I knew you were before you knew who I was. You get what I mean? And I think,
so you wasn't around here spiritualizing her, spiritually manipulating her. Oh, the Lord said, you're my wife. And putting her into a corner. You understood what I said.
Yeah.
Right. If you knew it was the destination, but you did not provide pressure on her to get her to a place where she could see what you were seeing. Instead, you understood the power of a timeline, right? The understanding that there will be things that will happen that I wouldn't want to happen or see being done, knowing if you just come with me, girl, I'm gonna show you the world, right? You know, right? Knowing this, and then you're the friend, and I'm just using creativity here, right? But then you're the friend that watch her get her heart broken, or watch somebody else misuse her, or hear her pains and sufferings about things that maybe she can't share. She don't share with anybody else. And you knowing, well, baby, all you gotta do is choose me, but allowing her to go through those experiences, or him or her to go through those experiences, to have that shaping, so that the person that you are meant to marry, right, is fully developed, fully intact, fully there, and ready to take the journey with you without you pulling them along. Does that? Did I? You're such a wordsmith, so
No, I think you're exactly right. However, Sade is never hurt. Sade was picking them up, love them and leave them. Sade was.
That's how you get your
Sade was not. Let me tell you something, man. There was Sade. Every one of my friends had tried to get with Sade, so there was rumors that weren't true that hurt me. But by then I knew her. We were friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so, really and truly, Sade, during this process, was molding me. Because, you see, I had to see that I wasn't ready for her yet, right? And so, I had to learn, that really and truly, that time helped me to grow as a person. Because things I didn't want to do, because I thought, oh, it's weird if I wrote poetry, Sade was digging into. So, everything that I would hide in my, in a contextual conversation with my guy friends, Sade was like, nah, that's cool. That's this, and this. And I found strength in myself, right, in those areas because of her. So I thought, man, God, I know it hurts that she's dating this loser over here and this loser over there. And I heard about thug life over there. But, this is great time for introspective. And I began to grow as an individual. And when she was ready, and she dissed me by saying, maybe in 20 years, I'll come back and look at you. And I was like, chick, do you think I'll be single in 20 years? And this is me we're talking about. To us going to Steak and Shake on a huge couple day, triple fipple date, and her saying yes, she'll date me in the movie theater. And I stood up like she said, she'll marry me. She said yes. Because
and I'm here like 17. I'm like, I just said I was gonna be your girlfriend.
But she didn't be my wife. This is a 2-year journey of God's will. Yeah. She didn't understand. She didn't understand what she was. She was like entering to the promised land. She had no idea how that grew my faith in God.
You know what I pray right now? I pray that this is being shared on his Facebook page for everyone who thinks I'm the extra person in the relationship. I'm hoping everybody else sees this because everybody thinks I'm the extra one. I want everybody to see that this guy is the extra
when
one.
It comes to my wife, I am very extra. I do not hide that from no one.
So
I love it.
That is funny.
I absolutely.
Jacobi, did you share this on your page? No. Go ahead.
I love it. So, Sade, talk to us about being a woman and being independent and knowing who you were, but also being able to submit to your husband.
So for me, I think I always had specific goals that I had to reach. 1-year goal, 5-year goal, 10-year goal. My whole life, I still have them. So it's like I just revisit those every single year and where I'm on the path. And so in high school, he knows he has a wife, and I'm thinking like, I need to move out and live by myself. I need to go college graduate. I need to travel by myself. I need to go on a couple girls trip. Like I always knew because one thing his mom said is she said she moved from her parents' house to she and her husband's house. And when I tell you that was like one of the most peaceful times of my life is living by myself. No roommates, no dorm mates, no husband, no kids. And so many women can't say, but you learn a lot about yourself that way. And so I always think like I have to be Sade the woman before I can be Sade the wife, Sade the mother, Sade, all the other titles. And being able to fill my own cup, being able to exist in loneliness, being able to just exist was really important to me. And so I think that he saw me evolving, that we've been together since we was kids. We just growing and growing and growing. And so I think he was able to witness that as well. And so I think that when you know who you are and God provides you with a strong man who is the provider, protector, absolutely in love with, I don't think it's hard to submit. And everybody's gonna laugh because they don't think I'm submissive, but to submit. And I'm not saying like, oh babe, I'm a ready. No. I'm just saying like Y'all like
I
understanding
love
that
Charlie.
shit.
You hear me?
But that's what it is. I don't think it's difficult. And I'll tell everybody, oh, you can't be submissive. You gotta no. When God provides you with the right man, it's just natural to submit. And so I didn't even realize it was that process. You know what I mean? I just think it was just a natural flow of how God was moving us through our relationship. I'm not saying I wasn't tenacious. I'm saying that I believe that God placed me with a spouse who honors him first. And that was very easy for me.
I love it.
Yeah. It's not. I know it's several things running through my mind on her statement. So let me just kind of process this through a little bit. I love the fact that she is fully aware of who she is. Right? She's goal oriented. She has a vision set.
Mhm.
Now, right there, we can literally take a moment, and that's a message to young women.
Everywhere. Yeah.
Right? I mean, we could build a whole conference off of that and really push that because I can't tell you, and you got stories I know of where we've seen, especially in the African American culture, that's culture I can speak about, where the identity for most women does not come unless they have, in quotations, a man.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Not only that, are they get in relationships and they give up identity, they give up the goals, the dreams, the visions. Is there some type of ideal or some type of something there that maybe you can help us with maintaining who you are? And because then she goes on and she says, I learned to live by myself. I dealt with the living through the loneliness, living through the right, because it was more important that I solidify who I am, right, and where I'm going, right, and not in the same breath belittling the idea that I got this knucklehead chasing me, right?
No, I had to push him too. So he was one. He came from seeing really strong marriages. That word. It was very normal for him to be together at 16 with somebody and say, this is his parents were like that. Grandparents, both sets of grandparents were together until death. And so I had, strong marriages, but for me, it was kind of like, I also grew up around very strong women. And so being able to balance being very strong and being goal oriented and being submissive for me was like, I had to have a full cup. You know how you hear people say, oh, you complete me. No. We have to enter in this thing 100%. And then you 100% and we 200% together. Because if not, it's like you always looking for somebody to fill you up. You always look for somebody to make you happy, somebody to set you straight. And for me, it's like, no. You have to have a clear vision for you. I have to have a clear vision for me. And then we have to have a clear vision for us and figure out where that is. That way, it's not a thing or a me thing. It's an us thing. It's an us thing in our house. With finances, with how we raise our children, with how we, where we worship, when we pray. And so, of course, one person will probably take the lead on it just because that's their strength in the relationship. But for me, it kind of hurts my feelings. Say, oh, we 50-50. It's like, no, we're 100 in here. And, I push him to do the same thing. Babe, you need to go on a boys trip. You need to live by yourself. Although he always had a knucklehead roommate. I don't think you ever lived by yourself.
I mean, women make it wrong half the year. So
that's very true. There was times
that's very true. Wait a minute. There's a story. There's a story. Oh, God. Where, the story about how, oh boy, it left me. Shawty said something and it reminded me of the story. I don't remember at this point. You don't know what I'm talking about. But anyway, so both of you, Pastor Jacobi is a very intelligent, strong-willed, strong identity, clear shot individual. That's what it was, pushing each other. Tell me the story about when your grades wasn't up to par and what happened.
You know about this.
Yeah,
y'all must be homies because he doesn't tell anybody this story truthfully. Yeah, baby.
This story is beautiful. This story is beautiful.
Okay, let me tell you, this is the thing. Okay, so we're both seniors. We met junior year. Now, both very smart. We're in a huge high school, so it's very easy to get lost into, you got to think in high school, I don't know why I was like this. Praise God I was, but I'm like, oh, we need to be public servants and we need to go on college trips and we need to do all of these crazy things that no other senior is thinking about. Like, we need to be thinking about internships. How are we reading resumes? I was a crazy person as a 17-year-old, but I look up and Jacobi is failing French class. I'm like, how you gonna fail foreign language? Like, this is not where it is. And that is the only class. Now, at this time, I didn't take any study halls or any regular classes. I was like zip through. I was finished with everything except 12th grade English. You had to take 12th grade English by the time I was there. So you had to stay at school 4 hours a day. So I would go to English, do study hall for the rest of the day, and then I went to work at 12 o'clock. But then I found out this guy is failing English class. No, French class. Failing French class. And I'm like, oh, no. This is not going to happen. And he knew French. He was just being honorary and not doing his work. He knew it. He was being slick. I know he tried to speak that French.
Because he was spitting that game on you, wasn't he?
He wasn't saying nothing but the national anthem. He wasn't saying nothing but the I don't stop giving away. I'm stop giving away secrets. So he babe, this is not cute. I'm not gonna be a freshman in college and be with a senior in high school. That's not cute. And then failing the class just means you're not trying at all. I'm not here for this. And so we would get together, and I don't know. The roots are the same. French and Spanish. I tutored him in French.
Please tell him that you met with my teacher because
I met with your teacher and Mr. Dorison, didn't I? I was like, look, I did meet with your teacher. I don't even remember.
She struck a deal with my teacher.
I did.
Listen, the teacher said he was going to pass me anyways.
Yeah.
And she knew that.
Yeah,
but
that's true. I remember that.
She said, I'm gonna pass me anyway, but you get him to show up after school every day to do this extra work. And she did. And I did all that work and I could have passed anyway.
You gotta have the diligence. You gotta have the
this one. Supposed to be on my level.
We had a girlfriend. We had a girlfriend
making deals.
I forgot about that. How do you remember that?
It is planted in here because I felt betrayed.
I'm so sorry.
I'm at home.
There's so much in that, though. There is so much in that. That is amazing. So they were boyfriend and girlfriend, and so this is amazing.
How you gonna be
this
is first class? I don't understand. I don't understand. You can't provide if you can't pass French. That's all I'm saying. Go crazy in here. I love you, babe. Give me
But there's so many principles in that. For me, that is the best picture, or one of the best pictures of what I believe when he talks about the wife being the helpmate, or when he finds the wife, he obtains favor, right? Jacobi, talk to me about that, and then we're going to jump into something.
About what?
About that yin yang, where because most men would be intimidated or threatened or whatever by that, but that being done had nothing to do with her disrespecting him, her not loving him. Nothing about that was negative. You help us process that, because there may be a brother watching that would be like, nah, she would have did that. I would have been like, right, dog, you went out on that. No, that was a moment.
You want someone, and this is the lesson I had to learn, right? You want someone who won't settle for anything but your best. Mm-hmm. And so that is what that looks like. It's not always doing for you. People think that the best is doing for you, is to give you the hookup, to show you the shorter route. But what Sade showed me there was, no, I'm going to be with you through this. That means when it gets tough, I'm going to push you to greatness. I'm going to we're gonna come together. We're gonna figure this thing out, and we're gonna get there. And if I gotta drive you, I'm gonna drive you. But we're gonna get there. And to me, that's wifey right there. Even though I felt some type of way when they struck a deal behind my back, I passed anyways. But it gave me a deeper understanding of Sade's love for me. And what it means to be connected, what it means to have that, and I'm like, man, I kind of look at in Genesis when he's like, it's not right for man to be alone, and he made he made Eve, right, and he did that, and he was like, they're going to work together in this. It's not like you going to do this and she going to do that. It's like you guys are both made perfect. You guys are both made whole, and what you can't accomplish by yourself, she's going to help you accomplish. And what she can't accomplish by herself, she's going to help you accomplish. You're going to help her accomplish. And that, to me, was a side of relationship that I have never seen. And one that most people, like you said, will look at it and go, boy, she betrayed me for me. And I was like, boo, look at you. Making me do all this work. So you see if I'm worth it. If I'm everything that you think I am, you know what I mean? Like, consider that. Like, I know what I want. I done passed my classes, and if you want to be with me,
you going to pass yours too. That's right.
Was like, oh, you think I for you? I would do this class 10 more times.
Which also shows that when a man is interested in a woman or when he's invested into a woman, there's nothing that keeps him from doing what is necessary to preserve, protect, honor, and push that relationship.
There is one thing that blocks Jacobi. That's some dishes, though. He don't know how to wipe down that counter for life. Now, look, my daddy be like, you should do the dishes anyway. This is my daddy.
But I think what we have to do with what you said, though. By the way, I was doing dishes when I was talking to you earlier, Mike. You heard me doing dishes.
Yes, you did.
Right, you doing a good job. What I heard.
But the other thing that you have to look at is how to broaden that scope of what that everything is. It's not just bringing home the bacon, right? It's educationally, right? It's knowing each other well. It's that scope of do anything to maintain that relationship. To push each other, to usher one into the next phase. We have a narrow view of what that is. It's a lot broader. We have to zoom out and say, well, maybe she sees somewhere I am not sufficient in, that I have all the making of sufficiency. And I need to go ahead and better that so that we can be equally yoked and better situated.
And being able to change that, because it's very different. The first 2 years of marriage, and our 5th years, and then when we became parents, and then now, and it's ever evolving. And so being able to identify those things and figure out, oh, my spouse is grown. Okay, let me figure out how to catch up, or let me figure out him in that, and how you can intentionally be a part of that. I think is one thing that helps us with that.
Yeah.
I love it.
So tell us about so there was a point in you all's marriage where y'all just, y'all was in 2 different chapters, right?
In 2 different books. Libraries.
We're 2 different libraries. What you gonna say?
We might have been 2 different libraries.
Right. This probably was a climate really where y'all should have just went chuck the deuces and just went on, right? Talk to us about that world.
You want to go first?
You go first, because she has a deeper understanding of it.
For me, well, it could have been several. I think it was.
First, identify for us. You don't have to tell us what happened, but what do we mean when we say there was a drought or y'all was in two different libraries? What happened?
I think that ultimately it was us growing at very different paces. I think it was we got married at 23, and at 23, he was still playing video games and hanging out. I remember when I told him I was pregnant. I had just gotten off work, and he had gotten off work. He was handling business, but our hobbies were different. Like how we built was very different. Mm-hmm. So I remember when I told him I was pregnant, he was sitting on the couch, he was playing video games with his friend, and he just looked at me I don't know if he was in shock, and he went back to playing video games. That's how different it was. That's why we were in different libraries. Okay, so funny now, and it wasn't like I just took it as him like, oh my goodness, like what is going to happen? We was in a different place. We didn't know nothing about a doctor or anything, and so I tell you, like looking at those goals, and I don't know if he was really aware at how like tunnel visioned I was about the next phase. Every year, the way I like to celebrate my birthday is in meditation and goal setting. Everybody else is like turning up and looking at the past, and I'm like, okay, we need to meditate, figure out how. And so I've been doing that. And so probably at about, I don't know, between him working and providing and being under a lot of pressure that he probably thought I was too fragile to handle, and me being a stay-at-home mom and going to and from work over the years, I think it was just not knowing how to communicate those things. Not him not knowing how to communicate stress, me not knowing how to be vulnerable and communicate needs. You like, oh, I got to be a strong Black mama. Like, my mama was strong. I don't see her breaking. You trying to look at that and figure out how to do that. Well, she had to. But I have a whole entire partner that really, when I'm being a strong Black mama, I'm closing off. You know what I mean? And being able to do that. And so I really think that we grew, and it was one of those phases that we grew like this. And you grow back in together. And I always say this is how a long marriage is. You grow real close and you come back. Oh man, we growing, and you might be growing up like this, and you got to come back in. And so seriously, sometimes
I love it. Yes. Yeah.
I work with a girl. She said that she was engaged, and she said she really wanted her marriage to be very successful. And so she literally interviewed me, and we got to talking, and she said I interviewed a woman who was married for like 76 years. And she literally just said, young people don't know how to commit and to dig in. You think I like my husband all the time? It was sometimes I didn't even want to look at my husband, but I was intentional about staying with him. Mm-hmm. And so just like we find a pathway to where we want to go in our career, just like we find a pathway to we have body goals, like we find a pathway to we have to find a pathway to having a strong, successful marriage. And so for me, it was like looking at older women who didn't like their husband, like, you know what I mean? And figuring out how to still be with their husband and be intentional. Because I love this man to death. Sometimes I don't like him. You know what I'm saying? And I really didn't like him. But it was about being intentional and saying, no, God put us together, and we're not going to destroy this because we can't get together in our humanity, because it's really spiritual. We can't get together in our humanity. We're not going to destroy this. And so I think at about 9 years in, we got it together. We're a little bit better together now. We in the same book now.
Right.
We in there.
But I'd say this for me, particularly, she was right, man. It's like I never saw my parents argue, and so I dealt with conflict the only way I knew how, and that was in training from managerial business wise. Let's get to where we need to grow from this. You know what I mean? It wasn't like let's have a discussion. It's like what do you want to happen? You know what I mean? And so that was me trying to get her to be on my page in discussion, and that's like the wall I put up, instead of me saying, you know what, you have something valid to say. And even though 90% of this is emotionalism, and I'm not as emotional as you are in this, right? I need to hear it, because at the end of the day, you are my heart, right? God put you with me. And so there's something I got to hear. And so I had to go, it was like a growth thing for me, right? And my dad, I sunk into what my parents used to do. My dad would go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, go to work, go home, watch TV, go to bed. And that's not how our marriages, our fingerprint went. And so, there was like 3 years kid, 3 years kid. And it was like job.
That was too far away.
Yeah. And then, I got into ministry, and that's when it kind of hit ahead, because everything shifted. We talk about pay decrease. My hours, went longer. The pay was shorter. And, but I tell you this, God gave a very, grand gesture at our 9th to 10th year, when I felt like we were the most distant. And happiness was a part of that too. I thought my wife was supposed to make me happy. And
that's a whole nother topic.
It is.
We got to get on that.
Yeah.
but my wife was not
Yeah.
there to make me happy. And I thought it was rude that she would sit there and do her hobby right in front of me and smile her whole way through it and then tell me to find something. And what I had to go back to is this is the same French class Sade. I'm failing in the subject of my own happiness. And she's like, you can't be with me and fail this course. You're going to have to figure this thing out. And so I had to find some things, had to find time, had to find things to do. And once my cup got filled again, then I could be more of a participant better because I'm in a better place in the marriage. So here's what God told me. He said, look, man, stop eating pork. And I go, what? I just bought a whole bunch of bacon. And I gave, and you know what I mean? Minced pearl breakfast, you know what that is. That's all pork. And I gave it away. And I didn't tell anyone in the household why, right? Why am I no longer eating pork? It's told today I don't eat pork anymore. But God was like, I want you to sacrifice for this marriage, right? But this is between me and you. But I'm telling you, they told me to plan our 10th year anniversary. And let me tell you something. We were not in a very good place. But the funny thing is no one knew.
Yeah.
They would stay the night with us that we would tell this story to that would say, I never noticed. And that's how I knew it was spiritual warfare.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because no one else could see us in the way that we saw us. And so I stopped eating pork. God said, plan this thing, which was the hardest thing for me to ever to do, to keep a secret from my wife for 10 months as I planned and I paid some things without her knowing because we had just split our accounts. So I was paying some things behind the back to make this thing work out. And God said, before this day happens, I'm going to put you guys in a great place if you trust me. And I had to go back to high school Jacobi and say, you know what, God, 2 years of waiting and watching and burning with frustration. And I saw you do the impossible. So I'm going to trust you and do this on this end and plan this thing and pray to God that Sade shows up and is ready to renew vows with me because we had said we weren't going to do it no more. And so it was off the table. But I'm planning it. I done invited her mama, her daddy from Louisiana, okay? Her mama Kentucky, dad from Louisiana. I done invited her sisters. I done got her hotel rooms. I done bought her a dress that was handmade from Nigeria. But come on now, I done put some effort in this. Not knowing to show up. But I trusted that God would do what he said he would do if you're faithful. And boy, did she show up.
So, see?
And
calls. Y'all heard, you see that praise? That was that pastor call.
And and that's the thing is that what we were committed to is what we agreed to, and that what God put together, no man put asunder. We didn't make a mountain out of an anthill. We have a marriage that's going to last 75, 80 years. To one of us croaks. We can't allow a couple of years that will be meaningless in time frame for what God has promised us to destroy it. You know what I mean? And plus, I am trained. Don't nobody else want me because I'm going to treat them like Sade taught me how to treat somebody.
Right. I'm right. That's exactly what
yes. What? No. I was talking about for you.
No, you. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. We had a moment. Go ahead.
That's okay. But you gotta. I think that the biggest tool is that what we learned, what we made it through, we made a point to never hide it. And then God has given Sade plenty of opportunity to speak to that into other people's lives.
It was like instant. Like that's one thing for me. It's like any rough patch. I'm always like, all right, God, just put the testimony in bold when it comes up. Just make it bold. And while I'm over this hump, we're at the point where essentially, like probably within a week of renewing our vows, a person I worked with very close was going through the same exact rough patch. The exact same rough patch. And I'm like, oh, wow, God, this is like immediate testimony. And I was so thankful for it because being able to, give her the scriptures that got me through and the affirmations that got me, you know what I mean? Being able to say, well, have you thought about communicating in this fashion or, things of that nature was awesome. So you're always looking for the testimony at this point. I don't know if I'm always looking.
No, I am. I was like, I learned how to lean on God in the midst of my marriage because I feel like sometimes I struggle with who I love more, God or my wife. And I think that, you know what I mean? I learned that there would be no wife minus God.
Yes, Lord.
There is no marriage with God. There is no continuity between us without God. There is no love between us without God. And so I think that rough patch for us to realize, hey, I'm number one. You know, God, you can't do this, because we both, without talking to one another about it, leaned on God heavily.
Yeah. That's Bishop Blue always says that he has found that when the man wants the marriage will stay together. In this case, both of you wanted the marriage. We didn't communicate it, but we both wanted the marriage. We just needed to add God in the mix and somehow, some way believe that this thing was going to work out. I think Mark 10 and 9 really speaks to this moment. What therefore God has joined together, let no man put asunder. And I argue that sometimes that man is ourselves. You know, that we have to let our marriage be about us and God. And we have to go, but I need to add this part in there, because I am sure, and maybe not, in this rough time, you had to be guarded about what you said, how you said, and who you said things to. Were there people in your life that you trusted enough to have that off the chain conversation? Or were there divine moments where it just seemed to just, prick at your heart about what was going on in your marriage?
I don't tell anybody anything. I don't.
Okay.
This is my ace right here. When we having a rough patch, this is who I tell. Not my mama, my daddy, my sister. Because it's like, they're not in the marriage. They don't know what it is. And this is one thing I learned from myself. Like, I always tell my aces, like, I want to be a good friend to you, but you're like madly in love with this person. I'm not going to like the person after that. And so then you got a whole different strain on your relationship when you sitting up in Thanksgiving dinner and everybody mean mugging each other at his house and my house because you done told everybody your business. And so for me, it's like, really can't nobody solve it. I'll go back to what he just said. You can't make me happy about it. It's nothing we can do. There's nothing you can do except fill your cup with God, what God would have you to fill your cup with. There was nothing I could do to make him happy. He had to fill his cup with what God would have him to fill his cup with. And so learning how to do that, I think early on to me was something that it makes it less stressful, because there's nothing anybody else can do. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how to, girl, let me tell you what. I don't know how that happens, because I can't understand what the solution will be when you invite someone else in other than God.
I was the same way. I think that the only thing that I ever did was I got a pastor, my pastor, Elder A.G. Glasper.
Our pastor. Yes, that guy.
Yeah. Fresh the Nazarene in awesome. Kentucky. He called me and he said, Pastor Jacobi? I said, yes, sir. He said, you fell on my heart today. And he said, I don't want the conversation because I don't have time. But what I will say is that whatever God told you to do, shut up and do it.
Wow.
It's always been my ace.
I'll talk to you later. I hung up the phone. And that to some people is a very rude conversation. But to me, I mean, almost broke down because it was timely and it was correct. And God, like, you ain't got to have a conversation. Just tell people, want to tell you what God said and then break it down and theorize it. And he was just like, just shut up and do it. He is the one.
Fist bump, Elder Glass.
And so, what I had to learn is how to love Sade, A, the way she wanted it. 2, without reciprocation. Because what I would do, and then I know we got to go, but what I would,
it's so, I'm about to say, you just added 45 minutes to the conversation.
I'm sorry.
But go ahead.
No, please, go ahead. Go.
What I learned through listening to my wife and kind of stepping back is, man, I would prepare things for my wife, right? I would think it through and be so in love with the process of getting things ready for my wife to come home. Right? I would set balloons at her desk. I would do all kinds of stuff at her job, come home and do whatever she liked around the house, make it look good, and not consider her day and not consider her mood. And when she came home and dinner was ready, she had better say thank you. But what I found out is that if I love her enough to do it, then I love her enough for her to process her day and enjoy it without any reciprocation, no expectation, because I did it because I love her. I did it because she deserved it. I did it because she is my better 100%. And I should not have to then handcuff her to some platitude. And I think that's what a lot of problems come into a marriage when you're trying to, one is being very thoughtful, is I'm thoughtful until you stop reciprocating my thoughtfulness. And
or you do it with the intention of, now you got to do something for me.
Yeah.
Now I need you to, okay, what you gonna do? How you gonna do this? And so it's kind of like, man, that kind of stills it.
Yeah. So what God did for me in the midst of all that going on was he taught me again how to fall in love. He taught me again what it was like to see 2 years of other people with my wife. Dating, you know what I mean? And that time I've waited.
Let's clear that up, because that sounds like infidelity.
Okay, she was not my wife at the time.
Let's clear that up.
We weren't dating at the time. She was a single person, but I saw.
Like you being together.
Oh, wait a minute. I have a question.
I said remember. It's a memory. My wife is a straight arrow.
But wait a minute. And I'm just on sidetrack. It's just 30 seconds. So while she was dating everybody else and you was in quotations waiting, did you have okay? Well, when she was hanging out, did you have hanging out partners along the way as well?
So many.
I did, but I told you that it was to make sure appearances.
So many.
Oh, keep up appearances.
My mom never met him. They never came to my house. And if they wanted to go on a date, this is how I would do it. I would have their parents, whoever had a license that they knew, pick me up, and I would walk down a couple blocks so they never knew where I lived. Because my future wife is who's going to know where I live. My future wife. My mom was like, but you got a driver's license. Why don't you just pick them up? Why? Why would I pick them up? They're not important to me. I said, well, I'll pick a girl up when it's Sade. And that was real to me. I'll pick a girl up when it's Sade. And dadgummit, when it was Sade, I picked it up.
And you picked it up. Okay, go back to what we was all the way to close. Jacobi, you is crazy. Shawty, how you put up with this all the day?
You know, I'm trained. I said, you better not go anywhere. Anybody else gonna put up with this? You're gonna be by yourself if you're not with me. This is years of drink.
Oh, now, yes.
Okay. So in closing, let's see. What do I want? Do you have a closing statement you would like for them to do? You will get fired next week.
I know. I probably
My closing statement. Let me see. Well, what I want from you. Give us 3 things. I think we'll just stick to it. Give us 3 things. Ooh. If you're willing to share, give us at least 3. You don't do 3, but at least 3 things that you committed to yourself as it relates to staying in your marriage.
Ooh. For me, it was intentionality, purpose, and growth. And I'm exclude God's love because I think that's just what put us together.
Yeah, that's basic. Yeah, we got that.
Intentionality, purpose, and growth. What you think?
Still got the good words.
I took all the good ones.
I think that I've actually thought about this a lot. Actually,
See, he got a sermon. You said 3 words. He has 3 points and a wrap up. That's what he's about to give you right there.
The kids is an hour and a half.
That's also true.
So
I'm giving to everybody on the call right now. You know that.
But look.
Shading everybody.
But look, Jacobi is always accusing me of being the preacher. And tonight, he preached several sermons. And I'm sitting over here trying to keep myself together. And but go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. You feel free to give us an introduction, a body, and a conclusion if you need to. Feel free to. I'm just pointing it out that I came tonight and you preached us into 4 revivals tonight.
I'm just saying, my marriage is the greatest sermon I'll ever preach. Okay,
Come on now.
put that out there. One is priority. Okay, that's the hardest thing for us pastors to do, is to give priority to home, because of so much of what we do is dependent upon people being faithful and people feeling like they're part of something. But priority is one thing that I did say that I would definitely give to my wife more than anything, is like, you are numero uno. Okay. Number 2, and this is a hard one for me. Number 2 is space. I'm an affirmation person, so I like to be around my wife. I like to be huggy. I like to be, Sade can be on the other side of the room doing something, and I can be on the other side of the room doing something. She'll say, "We hung out." I'm like, "We didn't hung out because I wasn't touching you, you weren't touching me, and we weren't snuggled up watching TV show. We weren't playing no cards or nothing." Okay, so space. I know that she values, her time to do things that she needs to do, because Sade can be doing something. I'll be like, "Stop! I'm doing something." "No, I'm not, because I'm kissing you." All right, so space. Space. And lastly, I think the last one that I think I will say that I would dedicate to my wife is prayer. Prayer is something super important. Praying together is one of the, doing marriage counseling with other people and being married is one of the weirdest things that people ever do, is pray together, right? Do you guys pray together a lot? See, it's weird to have that conversation of married people praying together. So prayer is something. So we did for a while, and we're getting back into it, is, we would pray with each other before bed and pray with each other in the morning. And if one of us fell asleep first, one would lay hands and pray on the other. And surrounding each other with prayer, I think is one of the biggest things that we could do. Because
especially when I'd be like, "Lord, just do it in our sleep, Lord." That should just be like, and in case I feel Pentecostal, I'd be like, "Ta ta 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 ta."
You get on my nerves.
I'm sorry. Go. We're back in the sermon. Go ahead.
Oh gosh, prayer is imperative, simply because when you pray for something, you're connected to it at a deeper level. And so to think about praying for my wife is to say, what do you need prayer for? And then I'm more intimately intuitive to what she's going through, and I'm more concerned about it. So prayer. There you go. Wrapped it up.
Wonderful. Let's shout out real quick to Pastor Luke is in his house. So hey, my friend, good to see you. So that's wonderful. All right, so Marriage Works episode 3, with the Campbells. Process, endurance, and faith. Yeah, that's what we talked about. Process, endurance.
You're so sermonical.
Y'all don't know say nothing, but you done 3-pointed everything I said.
He did.
You know what? It's time for you to go. So next week we will be with our last episode, and we will have another good friend and friend of our brother and sister, the Leach family, Daniel and Daniela Leach. And so I can't wait to be with them. You want to be with us next week. Luke, you crazy. Be with us next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. for our final Marriage Works web series. Listen, if you guys enjoyed yourself, I mean, say so. Let us know. What have you? I got an inbox today talking about interviewing people. I thought, I don't interview. Maybe we'll see. But anyway, so we're grateful for this. We're getting great testimonies. We love you guys. Pastor Jacobi and elect lady Sade, leading lady Sade, first lady, fragrance. You know, very churchy terms. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate y'all. I love y'all beyond words, and can't wait to do something like this together with you guys again. All right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put y'all. Absolutely love you guys. Luke say, "Elect lady, I love it."
Yeah.
Don't let that catch you on
a boo thing for sure.
Don't let it catch up.